Like, it was all Bear's fault. Wait, he's over here. Actually, it's not. It was my fault. But
nobody's fault. It's life's fault.
So
life happens.
Just hold up our trades.
Yeah, we're proud. That's all we're doing. Black Mirror.
Bear's got the whole framed. He's got the whole framed cover though behind him, so he wins.
I do, don't I?
Yeah. Tell the story about that real quick before we actually get into it.
That is a Jock print.
Yeah.
There. C2E2 2 years ago. I was standing in line for him to get some other Black Mirror books signed.
Yeah.
And, I heard he was just a nice English gentleman that is a pleasure to meet. So I got in line, waited quite a while, got to the end of the line. While he was signing my books, I noticed those sitting there. They're numbered. That one's number 7 of 100. And I was like, oh, God, how much is that? Of course, they didn't have the prices listed.
Right.
And the guy's like, it's $125. I'm like, give me it.
Nice.
Give me that. And I had him sign it. I had him sign it in silver, which was kind of dumb because you can't see it anywhere.
You can see it.
Close.
That's what matters. But, you can see it.
Yeah, I know it's there. And and he was a delightful chap to me.
That's cool, man. I'm looking forward to trying to meet him at New York Comic Con. I tried last year, and there was either an insane line or he was not at the table every time I tried last year.
It's tough with the overseas ones, man. It's the ones that come across the ocean. Everyone wants to see them because they know they're not going to get many chances.
Yeah,
definitely. So, for those that are joining us, another episode of Gotham City Chronicles, where we are doing Black Mirror tonight with me and my usual partner in crime, ComicbooksNYC, who's holding up the book there.
What up, everybody? Looks like we got some folks in the chat now.
We do have a couple of folks starting to show up. And let's see if we can meet Perry.
Got the Florida contingent is here.
And Rag's in here. I guess Rag's
in here. Yeah, we got Rag 718, Perry Comics, Ruben.
What's up, Ruben?
Guys, thanks for joining us. And of course, our guest tonight is Mr. Bear Island himself. How is it going, Adam?
It's going great. I just, as you guys know, I just finished working out, so I might be a little sweaty and haggard looking, but JP, I thank you because we were going to delay for a while, and I was like, you know what, I can do this. I can get a workout in. Operation Thinner Bear was in effect, so we're trying, guys. We're trying.
You're looking slim, brother. You're looking good.
Thank you very much. I'm down like 9 pounds, so I'm happy.
Nice.
Hey, every bit helps. Yeah, there needs to be a JP operation going on, but
yeah, I'm working on mine also. So we got Spidey Fan, Rod the Rican, Bake the Snake, Hack 79, Ben Compton. Thanks guys for joining us here.
Yeah, people join in. So what do you guys?
Bake's here for the PowerPoint presentation. So are we, actually.
Yeah, actually, so are we. So we are definitely going to be psyched for the PowerPoint presentation, but we won't get to that just yet. We're going to build anticipation.
Gotta build. Basically, what time's the PowerPoint start?
That's the PowerPoint. So, what are you guys' initial thoughts just on Black Mirror in terms of? I know you said you'd read it before, and Bear, I know it's one of your favorites. So, why don't we start with you, Bear? What's your just general thoughts of the story and what you kind of just generally like about it?
My general thoughts on the story are, I think this has almost everything I like in a Batman story. The writing is really good. I like the writing a lot. Sometimes Scott Snyder loses me, and I'll be honest, a couple times in this he did, but on a second reading, I got it. So that's the test for me, because I miss things a lot of times on the first reading.
Yeah.
I just really thoroughly enjoyed this story. It was nice and creepy. It had some good Gotham stuff in it. I liked this. I think I was a fan of Black Mirror before I even knew what it was, because I had collected some of the covers and immediately gotten them, signed and CGC'd. And I was like, someday I'm going to read this, and maybe I'll be on some sort of live program that discusses it. And man, the pairing of these two, of Snyder and Jock, and let's give Frank Avila.
I love Frank Avila.
Some credit too. Yeah. The way they weave in the two different styles of art that are so distinct was just fun, man. This is just a fun Batman story, even though it's so dark. It's fun. So I liked it a lot.
Yeah, it's interesting that one of my favorite, and I would put this in my top 10 for sure. It's kind of starting to climb up above Court of Owls after now having read it for the third time. Yeah. So to me, they're kind of like neck and neck on my list, and I'm not sure which one I rank above the other right now, but I guess I have to decide by the end of the show. But
yeah, we'll get that at the end.
But my point was, it's interesting that there's a Batman story that's this good that has no appearance of Bruce Wayne at all in it, really, the entire time. And this is probably the only one that I would put in my top 10 that falls in that category. I can't think of other ones that fit that particular unique scenario where we're talking about Dick Grayson Batman story exclusively, and then two Robins also involved in the story as sidekicks, as well as a really, really in-depth Gordon family story, which is really what sells this story for me.
Yeah,
I really love the writing, and to Bear's point, the combination of Franco Villa and Jock, two of my favorite modern artists. I mean, Jock's probably near the top of my list, and Franco Villa is somewhere in the top 10 for me. So it's just a beautiful looking book as well. So I was thrilled to have the chance to read this 2 times in the wait for us doing this show. Because I really just enjoy it, and it's a quick read too. It's not really, for me anyway, it wasn't that it just didn't feel that it just didn't feel like I was having to get through it. I was just enjoying it the whole time.
Yeah, it moves. It really moves.
Yeah, it really does move.
It does move, and we'll get into this a little bit in a minute, but like it's kind of one story, but yet it's like the beginning and the last half and the first half are a little bit separate.
Yeah.
But like it actually it does a good job of connecting them together, and I love that it's I really enjoy the Gordon family aspect of this one. I think that's really what, to me, it's a Gordon story more than it's a Dick Grayson Batman story in a lot of ways. I mean,
especially after issue 3, issue 4 onwards, it definitely does feel like it's a Gordon story for sure. Gordon family story.
I felt like this was 2 Jock stories and a Franco Villa. Like, I thought it was sort of 3 stories. I didn't really understand how the Black Mirror part with the creepy auction and all that really connected to the ending part with Joker and stuff like that. But you had the one thread. They're just writing.
What was that villain's name? Etienne. It was like a very fancy Etienne.
Gibor.
Yeah.
The dealer.
The dealer.
Yeah.
But I didn't totally understand how. I still don't understand how those 2 connected. But I like the fact that they were just writing comics. Like Scott Snyder is just like, I'm going to start this story. There's going to be another story that starts. It's going to carry through, and not everything has to connect.
Right.
Which is fine with me. If you guys know something that I don't, feel free to enlighten me, because I probably missed it.
No, I'm on the same page there. Like I think they try to co-opt the fact that James Gordon set the dealer on a path or something like that later on in one of the later issues, but I found that to be kind of a loose thread that didn't kind of get properly explained.
Right.
And there was maybe one other loose thread, was that that killer that Jim Gordon was following in the dark or whatever, that story, that one issue where he's taking you through the backstory of what happened to his son as a kid and everything on that trip that they took to the a log cabin or whatever it was, right? And then while juxtaposing that with this killer that just got out of prison that he knows is guilty, right, or whatever.
Right.
So I thought that was maybe another loose thread, because they kind of just dropped that, but I didn't necessarily feel like it needed to be wrapped up. It was kind of more for just dramatic effect or something to come across that he knows that the feeling he gets when somebody is a killer is the same that he gets around his son, right? So
I took that as, I'm sorry, JP, go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I took that as Gordon is wrestling with regret. Like, he feels like he let a killer go in his son when his son was a kid, and now he's not going to let that happen again. But part of it did sort of feel like there was that scene where he's holding the adult guy out the window or whatever. Like, is he going to let go or is he not going to let go? And then there's a scene at the very end where he's holding his son off the bridge, and is he going to let go? And so I was like, oh, okay, that kind of is, the parallel there is kind of cool. But
maybe this might be in Bear's PowerPoint. I don't know, but there's the scene that we're talking about in the
it's actually not. It's not. We are hyping this PowerPoint up way too much.
So it's not in your PowerPoint. Great. So I'm glad I whipped out the trade for that. Thanks.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you for whipping it up.
Yeah, and like Chris says, there is kind of like 3 stories in here, because there's kind of the beginning thing with the dealer, and then there's the whole thing with Tony Zuko's daughter and
Bigsby Rhodes and some other street level
Tiger Shark or whatever the other bad guy, and kind of the thread throughout is that it begins at early on is that it's Gordon's son showing back up, and then they just kind of go back, keep going back to that, but it's so a lot of what's in here is not really part of that Gordon story, other than it's, taking place at the same kind of time.
Yeah, the Gordon story is the connected thread throughout the 3 individual stories where you can say this is one trade or this is one run or whatever. Right. And of course, it starts with a Dick Grayson Batman and ends with a Dick Grayson Batman. So it's like
this is thicker than most story arc trade paperbacks that put
10 issues. So
go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and I sort of think some of that has to do with just the fact that where they ended Detective Comics before the New 52. As I think ultimately this became one trade because it was kind of the Scott Snyder story.
It was,
at the end of Detective Comics, as opposed to 2 trades, which you marginally could have argued it could have been.
And it was the story that put him on the map and was like, okay, here's our guy for DC New 52 Batman. So
practice run.
Rightfully so. I mean, based on this run. So
definitely. So do we want to move on to the art, or do we want to, or Bear, or where do you want to fill in your PowerPoint? Or do we want to?
I mean, we can do it now because I don't want it to get hyped up too much. It's just, I just wanted to sort of illustrate why I enjoy this so much. And
I think we're talking about the story and stuff. Let's here. So
yeah, you want to do it?
Yep, I will add it to the screen. So you have your screen is up.
All right, so I just made a little. Let's see if that thing disappears at the bottom there. Hopefully it does. Little personal checklist of what I think great Batman stories are. You've got to have detectiving. I mean, how often do you get to see a guy inspecting a whale for evidence, a killer whale for evidence? The thing with the micro syringes with the dealer, I thought was amazing. Like, yes, don't forget, I'm a detective. I'm trying to kick your ass, but I'm trying to outsmart you at the same time. And then you had Jim Gordon contributing with some disturbing information about, the Zuko family, which we all know has connections to the Graysons in negative ways. I also love, in a Batman story, I love my Gordons.
Me too, man.
You can have your Jim and your Barbara. Barbara was amazing in this story, especially when she's kicking her brother's ass, sticking a knife
from
the face after she's already, had knives stuck into her legs, which was
and that was very poetic, dude. It was like, yes, Scott Snyder, that was the perfect way to write that scene, Yeah,
I'm done hiding from you. Yeah. You got to have your sort of goth dark imagery, which right off the bat, you got these vultures hanging out outside of Dick's penthouse. Alfred's like, yep, there they are. You are.
I love that.
In case you forgot your lot in life, Dick Grayson, this is what it is. Tons of cool gadgets. I loved the bat taser and Dick's reaction when it works to perfection. He's like, "You were saying." That's a bat taser. Deal with that. And that jock art right there of her taking it in the face. Sorry, too soon.
Dude, Jock kills it in this run, man. Dude.
Then you have the cool mask that can manipulate light and make him look like he has a mustache, which is the only real difference between Dick's face and the guy that he was pretending to be at the party. And then I don't even know what that last thing is, so let's just move on. You got to have your Alfred. first of all, he's reminding him, hey, you live here, you can make it your own place, you should decorate. Alfred wants him to decorate. He's grounding the story a little bit. It's a little bit of a personal struggle for Dick to like get comfort.
And then that pays off later, and it's really like kind of a happy scene, you know? I really like that scene.
And he also, you know, Alfred, in about every Batman story that's ever existed, Alfred is telling who is ever Batman they need to get more sleep. So that's true. Master Richard needs to get more sleep. You got to have your cool bat vehicles. I loved this cycle. I hadn't seen it before. I don't know if it had been in previous issues, but cycle, follow. You know, like it's just hanging out there in the air. Like, I'm ready when you need me.
Yeah.
And then you've got this. I thought this shot was awesome of him like skidding to a stop. And then you've got the boat. I don't even know. It's probably just the bat boat, right?
Bat boat.
As he's going after the stuff under the water. Joker plays a prominent role. I loved this line where he says, "You smell like feathers, little bird." He knows. He's like, "You're not a bat. Yeah, I know who you are. You're not the original guy.
You're not my Batman." Yeah.
And then you have this scene, which it looks like it was the same as the 880 cover, the bottom part here with the teeth.
Right.
But I think it's slightly different. I think he did a couple different versions of it. Then you got your team ups. You got to have your team ups. Fun fact: this is the first time I'd ever seen Red Robin in a comic book. Just my blind spot from all the years I did not collect. I missed the introduction of him.
Mm.
Yeah. I've never seen him, and I was like, okay, that's kind of a cool costume. I think I've seen him like out of costume, but not. It's just Tim Drake, right? Like,
yeah.
Quick welcome to Brandon Stawinski, Longbox Diving, and Discovery Bay. JB, what's up? Thanks for joining us, guys.
What's up, guys? And then I just thought that was a cool Francavilla art there of them just stomping, going after these goons who never had a chance. Callbacks to canon I loved. You've got the crowbar that Joker used. It's for sale. It's for auction.
That's in the family, up for auction. I love that touch, dude. Yeah.
I mean, and the look on Dick's face, and you can kind of see in the goggles there. He's just like, "Are you kidding me with this?" And then you got Barbara talking to her dad, and she says, right up here, she says, "One is that door opening in the gun." That's clearly a Killing Joke reference.
Yeah.
It's talking about the terrible things that she's gone through.
Yeah, the one nightmare she has is that, and the other one is about her brother. So that's really effective.
Yeah, and then you've got the Flying Graysons thing that Dick is decorating with. Just a reminder that he's been through some stuff too. Let's see. I loved the Riddler's pajama pants or whatever. Riddler's outfit.
Yeah. Oh, the artifact for Gotham.
And he's also, when he's explaining how the dealer became this monster, he's like, I know what you did. This is just Venom, so Bane reference there, and an outdated version of Doc Langstrom's Man-Bat juice. So you get a nice little Man-Bat reference too, just to make everyone happy. They're hitting all the bases. They make Gotham a character in this story, which I think is essential to almost any Batman story. He's talking about the people at Mirror House were just plain citizens, mothers and fathers. He says, lately it just feels like the city's getting meaner and wilder. I did think some of that was a little bit forced. The whole mean city thing, like it's kind of, to me, it's always been mean, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of reaffirming like what Frank Miller set in motion way back when, you know, like a lot of the Batman writers kind of call back to that Gotham is a character. Gotham is like the underbelly, you know, Gotham is this, that. And I think it's effective because it kind of puts you in that you know, that Batman universe frame of mind to be reminded of that every once in a while. I don't particularly find it like off-putting or anything.
No, not at all.
I love it.
And Scott done it a lot. Like here and then going forward in his New 52 run, he really uses Gotham as a character a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, most writers feel pressure to do that for good reason. This one is just a nice shot of, I like exploring different neighborhoods of Gotham. This is where the auction was in Gramercy Row. I love that jock art, the way they got the headlights.
Cameron D says this is the best PowerPoint he has ever witnessed. So thanks, Cameron D.
That's amazing. Jim Gordon sort of echoing Dick's sentiments. He's like, I'm not talking about the people. I'm talking about the bricks, the stone, the damn bedrock. There are times I feel a dark heart down there, Dick. A dark, malformed heart beating and beating. So Gotham is a character, always will be. should not be overlooked. And you know what else I love? I love me some Bullock.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I love that guy. He's making jokes about his weight. Sorry, I'm not Jim. I'm about 50 pounds heavier than Jim. And then I particularly enjoyed this little part where he's like, it's like a detective noir story. It's like it's all about him or something. He's like, people call me old-fashioned.
Yeah.
I wanted the whole issue to keep going like that.
I really
got the jazz notes playing, right? Like he's like, they bust my chops because they don't speak their language. Harvey Bullock, dinosaur. So that's my little slideshow until we get to the covers.
Okay. All right. Nice. Very nice start to that PowerPoint, my brother. That's good, man.
So should I hit stop screen here or what?
Better than I could ever do with a PowerPoint. I'll tell you that.
I wrote it out, so yeah, they can't see it no more. So
okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, and no, it brings up a lot of points because one of the things I really like about this is it does. I mean, it's 10 issues, but it touches on so many solid aspects that make good Batman stories. There's a little bit of everything in here, except for like we talked about. There's no appearance of Bruce Wayne. And this wasn't when he was dead. He's alive, but he doesn't make an appearance. And he doesn't really need to. I think if he did, he would definitely distract from the story they're telling So, but that's like the only thing that makes a great Batman story that's not in here. And so, because there's so much else that is so good about this.
I want to apologize to Big for not including a pie chart.
No.
Next time. I promise you. Next time.
Sure.
I wish if I had one complaint, I wish that the tiger shark thing, like, I don't know, I just found that to be the most random part.
Yeah, dispatched up real easily.
Yeah, a little bit. Like,
I love this character though.
I love the character, but it was just like in and out of that, like within like a third.
Well, I do wonder if that's not. I really feel like the tiger shark thing and the Zuko's daughter is him setting up issues later before he discovered they were doing the New 52.
Yeah, like he had a plan for possibly
those
continuing those story threads, and then he didn't get a chance.
And then they did the New 52, and it didn't make any sense, and he didn't ever go back to them. I think it's really like because Zuko's daughter only really works as a villain for Dick and not for Bruce. In terms, and
because he jumped off at 881, and I don't off the top of my head, I don't know who picked up Detective at 882. Do you guys know? Picked up Detective?
Rebooted at 1 for New 52.
Oh, they rebooted it at 1 where they had that Tech 27, that second volume of Tech 27 and everything. Yeah.
So he jumped over to Batman on the New 52.
Right, and then when they renumbered again for Rebirth, they jumped it back.
Yeah, they picked up wherever they would have been if they kept numbering all the way through.
Right.
So we want to talk a little more just about the art and how they kind of mesh Fricavella and Jock together. I really love that, like, for me, it does seem like they time it really well that some of the more moody scenes, like that are too dark
stuff,
are really like are Fricavella, and then it jumps into some of the other stuff where it's a little more action or city or discussions in the lab go back to Jock, who I think they do a good job of meshing style with the scene of the two of them as they go back and forth.
I would agree with that. And also, like in this issue, which Francavilla does, the color work is extremely effective. Like especially during these Jim Gordon scenes and the backstory. I hear an echo. Are you? Let me.
I'm not picking up an echo, but
oh wait, all right. So like the color work for some of these scenes that go back in time to tell stories of the sun really kind of take you into another frame of mind really effectively. So I really enjoyed the color work particularly.
His use of like reds and purples is really
so I think that the name of that story was Lost Boys, but it's one of my favorites, especially of the Francavilla issues. That's probably my favorite one.
I think Jock was given the assignment of the bloodier stuff and Francavilla did creepier stuff.
Yeah.
Like sort of leading it. Francavilla would like lead us to like he could make people look shady like no one else. And Jock was just like, here's a guy with his arms cut off. Like
yeah.
Sorry, I can't get my stupid microphone in the way. Yeah, he's not having a good day, that guy.
No. And
he was just there with us all like, buddy, why did you make fun of me as a kid or whatever?
What's up? Z Collects is in the house. The Art Chemist is in the house. What's up, guys? Thanks for stopping by and joining the show with us. Thank you. Yo, Biggie Shack, what's going on, brother?
Big 8. So yeah, there's just so much good here. I mean, in terms of the art, these guys are just, they both do such a fantastic job. I don't even know where to.
I know. There's really nothing I can criticize. I didn't actually jot down any notes about criticism like I usually do with the artists when we go over this stuff. I usually have at least one or two like I didn't like this really niche aspect of the art or whatever, but I pretty much thoroughly enjoyed all the art here.
I mean, I could see how. Oh yeah,
the dealer just hunched over there. Like how great is that?
That's great. Yeah, it's great.
Jock, man.
I mean, this scene where you see that that James has like tied up his childhood friend or whatever, the one that he said he like just reconnected with in real life, and like
I was struggling to show you just now.
That was a crazy reveal there. And the art is just so effective.
And just a few people mad. Dick was like, remember that one guy? And James is like, oh yeah, I haven't seen him in a while. He's not in my basement with his arms cut off. I
just ran into him, and then I mean, he's basically taunting Dick with like, oh, here's somebody I'm killing right now. See if you can figure it out. And it's like, so while we're on that and him, what are your guys' thoughts of James Jr. as a villain? In terms of as a Batman villain and as a newer kind of villain in the universe. Scott Snyder's went back to him in that recent Batman Who Laughs run.
Yeah.
What are your guys' thoughts on him as a villain and where he kind of fits?
I'll let Bear go first.
I dug it because the dialogue was so good in that conversation between him and his dad in the diner. Like the initial one, he's just like, look, I know all your concerns and I'm going to address them one by one and tell you what's real. And he's like, I know, there was one point where he's like, I know I'm a psychopath. I know that. And like, that's a powerful sort of admission to make.
Yeah.
And sort of, it can be a very convincing one. It's like an addict would say, I know I'm an addict, in order to convince the right people to leave them alone. Like they've got it under control. They realize what they are type thing. Like you don't have to watch me. I've got this sort of thing. I thought that conversation was great. And then they built him up enough for me. Like the childhood thing with the creepy where you're like, did he or didn't he? Like I really didn't know where it was going. Like I didn't.
Yeah. I thought it was super creepy and it was very effective the way that he was written. I thought some of the science stuff with like the medication and the reversal of the medication and the, I get a little tired of those tropes. I know, like, in the years to come with like the Dark Knight's Metal and the Batman Who Laughs and all this other stuff, I think some of that stuff that's been out more recently has kind of skewed my opinion on this, on a lot of that. Like, whereas this came out, when well before any of that stuff. So kind of have to look at that separately and not compare it to a bunch of the stuff now, which I'm getting a little bit tired of the stuff now.
Kind of went back to that well a couple of times. Like,
right.
I mean, the whole thing, like if you read the Batman Who Laughs thing, which is a disappointment to me, like was a huge disappointment to me, but like
I'm not a fan of it.
Back down the same James Gordon road of he's taking medication and he's okay, and it's like, okay, Scott, you've told the story.
Right.
Like, why are we doing this again? And his dad doesn't believe him, and there was a bunch of,
but in this run, it was original at the time.
Yeah,
so
it worked really well, and like the whole thing where Barbara doesn't, and that she's the one that has seen James for who he is the whole time, and their whole dialogue at the end, I just love that whole interaction and scene once he's captured her, and he's basically using her as bait for Dick, and it's just like,
yeah, obviously that's the climactic like hero moment, the probably the point in which the story hits its height from a dramatic perspective, right? So,
but if you're a Barbara Gordon fan, there's so much to like here. She's very empowered. Like even in the initial discussion with her dad, she's controlling the discussion. She's like, I know what you think, but I've been watching him too, and here's what I know. Don't fall for this, And she's very empowered there. And then of course she has the physical empowerment at the end, where she, takes a knife and sticks it in her brother's eyeballs.
I realized that as soon as I said that.
What do you guys think of the whole like putting that like bringing out the psychopath like enzymes or whatever in the baby formula thing that they leave kind of open ended, and they're like, because they show that baby with like the crazy psycho eyes, and that's kind of the way the story ends.
I want to see them pay it off at some point. I don't know if they have.
Paid that off. I don't think they have paid that off.
They have not paid that.
That is there for them to do if they want it.
It is there. But
whoever's the next Batman writer, I don't know if Tinian is he's filling the gap in someone else or what. But
yeah, a little too early to know about where Tinian's going.
The worst thing is with all the stuff that they've been doing with Batman Who Laughs, like drugging the water and trying to like turn people into like kind of like, do you really want to keep
going? Yeah, they really keep like. I mean, this is where the concept originated, and now it's like the whole DC universe is like like about it. I don't know. That's a whole nother show. That's not this show.
Yeah.
It was definitely well done in this particular run.
Definitely. I just think that there's just so many solid points to this whole thing of the way they it's a Dick Grayson story, but it's a Jim Gordon story, but there's good Barbara stuff, there's good Bullock moments. They do a really good job of just balancing all throughout, like the different multiple threads going, and
all with no Bruce Wayne. I have to like keep going back to that about how much I like this story, and there's no Bruce Wayne.
But if there was Bruce Wayne, do you think that we would have those Bullock moments, those Jim Gordon moments? Like,
no, I don't think so. I think the lack of Bruce Wayne is what helps this particular story, which is a weird thing to say on a Batman show.
Biggie's giving me a hard time about my microphone being in the shot, but
you're just saying how
because he likes it, which is cool, but it's actually by accident. I try not to have it. Thank you, Biggie. I appreciate it.
It makes you look professional, unlike
I am no shock jock. Yeah, what's professional? My food here that I didn't even.
Let's not get started about food, boys, because I still haven't eaten dinner. So.
No, are you starting to feel it?
I told you to eat when I was going to be late. Bear took advice. He wouldn't work out and had,
Tavi's getting a little lightheaded.
No, I'm good. So it's only 10 Eastern, guys. Come on.
Yeah, it's early for you.
Yeah, it's early.
So
what's up, D-Runk? What's up, Boy at 7?
So are we ready to go into covers at this point?
I think so.
Are we there, or is there something else you guys want to talk about, story points that you guys want to discuss?
I think we hit everything that I wanted to. As far as the art goes, I just wanted to make one more comment about Jock, and that is the fact that I think he's one of the most perfect Batman artists you can have, because when you look at his art, you're like, oh, that's not quite perfect. Right. It's like a little bit off. Like he didn't quite get the shape of that head right, but somehow it fits.
Yeah, it fits.
Like, his faces are odd, but yet they work.
Yeah.
It's like
he gets emotion across the right way.
Yeah, it's like normally Dick Grayson is way prettier than that, I guess is the way, and yet it's still like he conveys so much in his it is, because it's not like a classic style in a lot of ways, and yet it works so well for Batman.
I mean, he established his whole Batman aesthetic in this series and has gone on to, continue to smash it as far as Batman work. I mean, if there's anything I did like about the Batman Who Laughs, it was Jock's art, but I hated the story.
Yeah, it made the story palatable, I guess, but not good.
All right, you want to get into the covers? Picks?
Yeah, you guys go first.
Do you want your PowerPoint first, Bear, or do you want us to talk about them first?
No, because my PowerPoint might include. Just trust me, you don't want me to go first.
All right, I'll go first. So, I mean, this is a close runner-up for me. Okay, as far as my favorite cover from the run, this is 878. So this is one of the Jocks covers, and I just love that. Almost like Batman is flying effect of that cover. It's just a super cool cover, and it's got the drama of the bats in the background. It's got the anchor, and then it's got the ship. And even though Tiger Shark isn't appearing on it, they nod to him with the whole title block and everything. So probably this is my number 2. But I'm going with the obvious pick for my favorite.
Yeah, we should have just
made that go there.
Yeah, make that not eligible.
You gotta show them both, don't you?
Gotta show them. That's my favorite one. I mean, it's just iconic. It's just I can't not choose it from this run. So
no, I love that.
So, yeah, you would have a hard time for me. Like the 880 cover is obviously it's just a classic.
It's classic.
It's the best one. You could make an argument I would make an argument potentially for the 871, which is the one Bear has there, the print. That's the cover of the actual. To me, that's close, but that one feels. It's not my second favorite because it feels more like a Bruce cover than a Dick Grayson cover. If that makes any sense on that 871, like it does. I'm trying to find the one I actually want here, and I had it earlier, and now I can't find the dang page.
Yeah, I don't know. I keep going. If 880 wasn't as iconic and just classic as it is, this would be definitely be my choice. But there's so many great covers in this run.
Yeah, and I cannot find. Of course, I can't find the page now. I had it.
Hey, TJ's in the house.
Let's see. It is at 873. Is the cover that I love.
Is that Echo Me or is it someone else? Like I've been trying to solve this the whole episode.
It's your stomach rumbling.
Yeah, maybe.
And I cannot find the page now to show 873 because I don't have any of these individual issues with things. But
I don't have the whole run in individual issues, just maybe like 4 or 5 of the issues, and then of course 880 slabbed. So
yeah,
I see 880 slabbed on Bear's wall and 871.
I do. I've got 880 and a 9. Well, they're both in a 9.4, and both signed by Jock. But
hey, one of mine is a 9.4. It's the silver foil one signed by Jock and Snyder.
This is the one 873.
That's a good one too.
That is the one that I love personally. Like other than 880, it's probably my second favorite one. To me,
so many to choose from.
Yeah, it's more of a Dick Grayson cover than some of the others. To me, a lot of the others could be Bruce covers easily. To me, this is more of a Dick Grayson cover, and since he's the Batman at this point, but like you can't hardly go wrong. Let's be real. Like picking from these. So
truly.
So, are you ready, Bear, for your PowerPoint?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
All right, let's pull this.
You guys are gonna think I'm crazy for this, but my favorite cover is not that one, even though it's on my wall framed, and it is not this one.
Okay.
Dying to know.
Neither one of you mentioned it, which makes me kind of happy, but also makes me feel a little weird.
Well, yeah.
This is my absolute favorite cover of the modern age.
Wow. Oh, the gas mask.
It's a good one.
Freaking amazing to me. The fact that he got that so real. It's got the crowbar in it.
Yeah.
It's so creepy. The gas is swirling around, and I love, and this is going to sound weird, I love the green in the title at the top. Just makes the whole thing pop, and he's got like a little glint of it in the
mask. Yeah,
in the mask. And I'm just like, this cover represents what is in the book, which is a big deal to me. I wish more covers did that. Like very specifically represents what's in the book and makes me think of what is in the book, and it makes me remember that creepy scene at the auction. And I just think that's awesome. The connection between the two.
So that's why you chose it for the
favorite cover.
promotional graphic. Now we know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a little teaser there. But,
yeah, everybody's looking
Sadly-
at that pie chart, brother.
Sadly, guys, I do have this slabbed. And then 9.
Why is it sadly if it's your favorite modern coverage?
9.0.
Oh, that is a little sad. Sorry.
I love it because it's mine, but maybe I'll upgrade this at some
You
point.
might have to try to upgrade that.
If it's a PC book, you're fine, dude.
Yeah, I did one of those things where you buy the whole entire set from somebody on eBay, and some of them come in good condition, some of them come not so great condition, because people don't know how to pack comic books in 2019. Anyway,
Sweet cover. There's so many good ones, and
there's so many good ones.
It's we all picked after you get past those main two that everybody thinks about. Like
I think if no one picked Tech 880, it would have been pretty controversial. So I went with that one.
Thank you. Yeah. That was very responsible of you.
Yeah, but I kind of wanted to go. I kind of wanted to go with this one. To be honest. So
I do dig that one. How they promote Tiger Shark on the front of it.
Yeah,
they promote this villainy, don't they?
Yes, the villainy of Tiger Shark.
Like, we didn't promise you any Tiger Shark. We just promised you his villainy.
Villainy.
But look at that cover, dude. I mean,
yeah, that is everything Batman there, and of course the bats in the distance. Like, he's leaving like a trail of them in his wake.
Such a cool cover.
Amazing. What a series! Like, what a finish to that run of Detective Comics before they rebooted.
What about story? Do you guys have a favorite story issue? Mine is Lost Boys, which is that kind of Franco Villa drawn issue where you have James following the new case while explaining the old case. With the girl who disappeared or whatever. And his son. That's probably my favorite.
Mine's definitely the I believe part 2 of Black Mirror, the auction one.
The auction.
Where you realize these guys are auctioning off like artifacts from Batman's past, and it's so creepy and it's so well drawn. And there's this moment where he's losing reception in his ear, and you're like as I enter the building, I'm not like. He's like, you're not gonna be able to hear me, and he's like, oh crap, we know how this is gonna go if you can't communicate.
Yeah.
And then just the way it ends with that mob coming after him.
Right, and the poison affects him for the rest of the run. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of pretty important moment.
So I'm gonna go. I could have went with either of those. Those would both be right there for me. But I'm gonna go with which would be 874, I think, which is Skeleton Cases, which is the one where James first appears in town. The diner conversation. Where he has with Barbara and then with James at the end.
So creepy.
Yeah, like that whole, because Jim is sitting with Barbara, they have a long conversation about him, and then James shows up, and like that is, to me, that is the issue that's probably my favorite in the whole run. But easily you could make it. The two that you guys mentioned they're right there. There's so many good ones.
Yeah, it's hard to choose. I mean, it's a very seamless story. So all the issues really work.
I loved in that diner scene when he's talking to the waitress and he looks down and he thinks the waitress is still there and he looks up and it's his son. He's like, oh my god.
He got
startled from you creepy son of mine.
All right, so where do we rank it then? Because that's how we usually wrap things up here.
Where do we rank? I was been thinking about this.
It's hard for me. This one.
So it's not like, it's not touching, like, it's not near the top. It's not, year one kind of level. It's probably not Long Halloween level. Like, of the stuff we've done, I'm just going to rank off those 8 that we've read here, like, doing this. I think you could make an argument, like, I went back and forth on White Knight or Court of Owls as being kind of the third one of what we've done. I think this is right there with those two. To me, it's right in that marginally that 3 to 5 of the stories that we've read for this show. I would put it above Death in the Family. For me, I would put it above, clearly above like Mad Love, which is last of the things that we've read.
Yeah, same.
Where does it rank compared to Tom King's Nightmare?
I'm sure T-Bug would say way below that because that's his favorite run. But
Professor Pig.
I would put it below. I would put Hush below this now, which I wouldn't have thought I would have said like before we started doing these shows. But
yeah, me too.
So yeah, it's right there. Probably, if I had to do it, I'd probably go Court of Owls. This one, White Knights. But ask me tomorrow, and I'd probably switch on those three.
Right. I mean, for me, I'll go next. But for me, I mean, of the stories that we've done only, I'm not going to include other stories. Year One is number one. Long Halloween is probably number two. Court of Owls is probably number three. Hush is probably number four. This is probably number five. White Knight's probably number six. Death in the Family is probably number seven, and then Mad Love is number 8. So that's my order. I mean, I feel somewhat confident about that today, but just like you, that could change at any moment. You know what I mean? But out of the 8 stories we've done, this sort of. So where did I have it? Fifth? Did I have it fifth? Yeah. Said Year One, Long Halloween,
Court of Owls,
Hush, this, Black Mirror. Number 6 was White Knight. 7 was Death in the Family. 8 was Mad Love. So that's my current ranking. So this is 5th right now for me. Out of the 8.
I'm crushing the boy Matt because I put Hush as low as I did. Like Hush is not going to fall out of like my top 10 Batman stories. It's just not as high as I once thought it was because there's so many holes in the writing. In that
the artwork is what makes that book soar.
It just so these others have bumped ahead of it because I think the combination of art and storytelling has been better than. Yeah. There's just a lot of holes in Hush when you reread it.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's just not quite where these are at, in my opinion. But what about you, Bear? Where you got it?
Well, I'll preface this by saying I'm still really getting caught up on a lot of important Batman stories that I missed when I wasn't collecting. So this is going to rank higher for me, I think, because my list is incomplete. I'm working on Hush right now. I'm really enjoying Hush. Sort of doing Court of Owls at the same time, like when I need a break from Hush. I really enjoy those both, and I'm not ready to rank them. So I would have to go Year One at number 1. You can laugh at me, but Nightfall for me is number 2 because I just love it, and I can always go back to it and read it. And I love the story. It's nostalgia.
I mean, if we're including stuff we haven't covered on the show, Dark Knight Returns is my number 2. But I'm sticking since I've been on every episode.
Oh, okay.
You're more than welcome to include.
List whatever you want. You don't.
You can include anything, but I can't.
Okay. Well, and I would put this number 3. So
yeah.
Thoroughly enjoyed it. It can't beat the nostalgia of Nightfall for me. And then Year One is just a masterpiece. So yeah, that's where we are right now. But
I want to read. It's been a long time since I've read Nightfall. At some point, we will definitely have to do that one. Although that may have to be like multiple episodes because it's so long. But.
Oh, for sure, yeah. A lot of slideshows.
I like Nightfall. I don't know where I would rank it necessarily, but.
Kavi, are you younger though? Did you grow up on Nightfall like us, or?
I'm 35, so basically it was. I didn't read it back then though. I read it like 2013. So
yeah. Okay.
2014.
So there's not as much nostalgia attached to it for you.
Really.
Like that's the first thing I ever bought off a newsstand for.
Got it. Like yeah. I mean, I grew up on like Todd McFarlane Spider-Man stuff, not necessarily Batman. I wasn't really reading Batman as a kid.
Fair enough.
Awesome. Well, we got anything else you guys want to talk about on here before we get done with Black Mirror and wrap this up?
No, I mean I think this is just definitely one of the better Batman stories, especially if you're looking for an out of the normal box Batman story. A Dick Grayson Batman story, a non Bruce Wayne Batman story. So if you're hungry for something like that and haven't read this run, this run should be at the top of your list.
I would call it an essential Batman read.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely an essential Batman read. Well, you guys got anything coming up on your channels you want to talk about? NYC?
Well, I have the AOK I sent to you, which I guess has arrived now. I mean,
it has arrived.
so
Should we close this out so I can give it its rightful due as its own stream and just?
Yeah, so that's the next thing I got coming up. Whether we do it today or tomorrow, that's the only thing I got planned. And then I got New York Comic Con.
Or do you guys have other
Thursday through Sunday? So
as long
as we do it
close this out, and then I'll start a new stream because it deserves its own video, and we can open this, or we can wait till tomorrow because it did arrive today. Biggie says open it, of course.
Of course.
I think I know what the chat is going to say.
What a tease to like show the box and not open it.
Well, it's sitting here staring at me, but we'd originally said we were going to do it tomorrow, and it arrived a day early. So it was kind of changed our plans a little bit. But
yeah, we can wrap this up and go live to do it right after. I'm totally cool with that if you want to do it. It's your channel.
Yeah, this is true. We'll just wrap this up, and then we'll come right back here in just like 10 or 15 minutes while I set up a new stream. And Barry, you're welcome to join us for this if you want. So
sure, let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. What you got? And anything you want to pitch before we go off here, though, Bear?
I have a contest entry video for ComicbooksNYC that I promised to do.
I can't wait.
I fear that the deadline is quickly approaching, so
you got a month, brother. It's November 1st.
I do?
Yeah. So
I thought it was like early October or something.
No, you got a whole month. You're good.
Okay. I'm also rumor has it somebody on this panel has sent me something.
Well,
I
forgot to take it with me.
We'll be sending it.
Okay, or
you can get the shake test.
It's still sitting here. It's going to go out tomorrow. I forgot it this morning. I leave early for work, and I
something with that. And I have a feeling me and D-Rock might be getting together at some point to do another just random top 5 something because we had so much fun last time. So
awesome. All right. Well, why don't we go on and end this, and we'll be back in like 10 or 15 minutes because I'll try to set up a new stream and get these guys emailed. And if you guys want to come back, and we will open this box from NYC.
What's in the box?
As far as next Gotham City Chronicles, we haven't decided for sure. I think we're talking to Whitewell about maybe doing Gotham Central, the first volume.
Cool.
But we're always open for other ideas, and if there's somebody in the chat that wants to do a Batman story, hit us up, and we will add it to the list. So, with that, I want to thank everybody for joining us, and we will see you in like 15 minutes.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Later.
Peace.